Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unblinded Real Raw. I keep saying this all week. I feel like we're close to episode 100. For all I know, we passed that mark already, but whatever. We're here, and we're having some fun, and it's Why Wednesday. And first off, thank you. Thank you for all our amazing contestants. Thank you to all our amazing assessors and judges. And yeah, if you're just tuning in and you were talking about, like, why are they talking about lifeboats? A lot of things happen here. Like, we're on lifeboats. Sean had like a fist fight with a shark last week. I'll let him tell that story. There's a lot of madness that happens here, but that's not the point of the Real Raw. The point of the Real Raw is truly where heart-centered influencers come together to display that influence is a superpower, that it's present here, and we're here to learn it. And what's going to happen is this. The first half, we're going to really build rapport. Some folk on this call know each other, some don't. And we're going to show you what it looks like to truly, genuinely, and quickly build rapport with amazing people in this virtual land that we're living in. And then we're going to drop gears and have some fun on what's known as the influence off. And today we have Vivian Monaco and Chris Young that are going to go head to head on a Hello TS mechanism to something that is meaningful for them. With that, let's kick over the hostess with the mostest, the gentleman that surfs, skis, and shark fights, Sean Callaghan.
Listen, thank you guys for being here. And truly, this is in service of you. We're here to add value. So unlocking the superpower of influence is how some incredible and beautiful things happen. Chris Young has that superpower. I'm present to that. I experienced it because without his brilliance and fine work, we don't have a Callaghan law, 2 top 100 national jury verdicts between 2014 and 16. And Chris and his absolute brilliance and wisdom created that. And with humility, if our team doesn't have it, and if I don't have it, then we also don't get there. And not only that, but like everything that's ever been created. You know, Herb Brooks creates the greatest sports upset in history. Potentially, I believe, influences the future of American history through that unbelievable act and coming together of people. It's influence. To build a company, destroy a company. To build a relationship, destroy a relationship. To have kids make the right decisions or make the wrong decisions amongst each other. The superpower of influence is present and knowing what to do with it. And that's what we're playing with and unlocking today. So Fernando, take us in with our amazing guests and awesome judges.
Let's do it. So we're going to start off with our first contestant, Miss Vivian Monaco. A big thank you to Elle Anderson for connecting us with this powerhouse. She is a board certified specialist in city, county, and local government law. She is in land use and commercial real estate and an attorney in Orlando, Florida. Her and her husband love to travel. And fun fact, her first day of law school was on her 40th birthday. Vivian Monaco, what's happening?
It's a great day in Orlando.
Hey, Vivian, thank you so much for being here today. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can we have a fun fact, if you wouldn't mind sharing one about Vivian?
I have one. So I played the Virgin Mary when I was 3 years old in a Spanish preschool in Madrid. And then when I was about 30 at a Lutheran church in Austin.
That is a very, very fun fact. That may be the most interesting and creative and cool fun fact yet on the Real Raw. First time I've ever said those words. So Vivian, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Vivian, happy to have you here. And next, we're going to jump in with Chris Young. Over the past 5 years, Chris Business's Red Maple Economics has helped a small business owner to pursue over $4.5 billion of assets, which were wrongfully taken from them. Through his research, he has helped write new laws, and he has helped a lawyer and judge interpret old ones. Chris is also a full-time professor at Rutgers Business School, where he lectures on business ethics and economic choices. When not working, Chris spends his time coaching football, girls lacrosse, and relaxing with his wife, 3 kids, and his 120-pound Doberman, Rock. Oh. What's happening, Chris? That's a big boy, man.
He's a big guy.
Chris, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, listen, thanks for being on, number one. Number two, thank you for your brilliance in the world. And number 3, thank you for your service, as Chris is also a veteran and an amazing human being. So thanks,
buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yep. So, Fernando, we got some judges for these fine folks in the legal world and other worlds.
Yes. We're going to start with our first judge. Thank you to Mark Siegel and Lorelei for connecting us with Ashley DePrizio, who, by the way, survived like the sinking of the Titanic. I'll let her share that story. Ashley is an intuitive guide and transformational coach. I'm like exaggerating all over the place today. In a prior part of life, Ashley spent 10 plus years in cybersecurity world, growing companies from startup to acquisition. She's received a formal training and certification in behavioral ontological coaching through accomplishment coaching. She is certified erotic blueprint coach and an accelerated evolution. What's happening, Ashley?
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Ashley, we're very happy. Like, all kidding aside, you were in a lifeboat. I came in a little bit behind from another railroad open. So like, you were on a boat that had to evacuate?
I was on a cruise ship in college where I was traveling around the world, and we got caught in the middle of 3 different storm systems, and a 50-foot wave hit our ship, broke the bridge window. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, worst case scenario going on a cruise ship. We did not have to get in the lifeboats, but where you came in is when later on we did a reunion cruise and we had to get in the lifeboats to get from the ship to the shore. So that was the PTSD moment.
Unbelievable. So by the way, for those, so I'll drop in on a quick fun fact. I was in fact bumped by a shark about 2.5 weeks ago. And I've gone scuba diving with sharks many times. It is a very different deal. If you're scuba diving with sharks, you're down below and like you're expecting to see them, or you're down there and they kind of come by scuba diving. Very different, because they like stay away from you and they move the other way. Very different than when you're standing on a sandbar in chest deep water, waiting for a wave with your surfboard, and you get bumped right on your leg by a large shark. There's a whole different deal. So quite unsettling. And I do know very clearly what it means to have a 50-foot wave. To put that into perspective, most waves that you would see like on a beach, you'd be like, wow, like the waves are pretty big today. You're probably looking at 3-foot waves. A 50-foot wave is like inconceivable. So that is a crazy story, Ashley.
Totally. And on the same trip, I actually went cage diving in South Africa with great whites. So I have a shark story to go with along with yours too.
All right.
Synergy everywhere. Chris Young, like getting $27 and $33 million jury verdicts with us, and like her on the Titanic, and like being eaten by great whites.
Totally.
Welcome. So,
thank you.
And Fernando, we have, you know what, by the way, Chris Young, what's a fun fact for you, sir?
I don't like string beans. When I was 3 years old, I went into my parents' garden and I took all the string beans out of the garden. And still to this day, no one knows I did that.
It's amazing. Vivian and Chris dropping with 2 of the best fun facts ever. Amazing. So that's like literally an admission that you've never made before today.
Oh, everybody knows about my parents.
Oh, okay. So yes, very, very nice. Love it. So Fernando,
let's keep rocking. So we have a lot of bright individuals here today, but this next judge, her name is literally Shiny. She is a proud creator of Academy of Neuroshine Technology. Say again, Sean?
I said, oh my, go ahead, yeah.
Yes, she's an international trainer and coaching company since 2011. She is a licensed trainer of neuro-linguistic programming and ICF certified executive coach and professional coach trainer. She is also a professor teaching leadership, communication strategies, and emotional intelligence at UCLA Extension since 2012.
Shiny, how are you?
Yes.
I'm shining. How are you, Sean?
Amazing. I think, yes, Shiny and I have connected around the world. Not long ago, we saw each other in like Amsterdam, right? Like all over the place. So it's a pleasure to have you. And what's a fun fact about Shiny?
The pleasure is mine. My fun fact, you're going to love this because it is going to connect everyone to my name. I had a baby goat when I was a little girl. Maybe I was like 4 or 5. You know what? I named her Fancy. Her name was Fancy.
Fancy?
Fancy, yeah.
Amazing. So
Yeah,
Fancy had
like
Shiny had Fancy the goat.
Yes.
That is an interesting fun fact for sure.
Chris Young, when we were like in the middle of like that New Jersey huge trial, did you ever think we'd be on a Real Raw together and that we'd be talking to Shiny about her goat fancy.
No, sir. Didn't expect it.
Amazing.
No, sir.
So, Fernando.
Awesome. And our final judge, a dear friend, we have Carlos Villalobos. He is a former Marine that served from 1991 to 2007, during which time he was deployed in 5 combat tours in the Middle East and Africa. He left a 6-figure salary in the corporate world to focus on growing his short-term rental business, i.e. Airbnb and Vrbo, with properties near New York City and in Ecuador. He is a veteran, he's passionate about veteran issues, and he is an advocate and a voice for that ecosystem. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Carlos, thank you for
Carlos.
your service and welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well. And Chris, thank you for your service as well. Share fellow vet. So I just want to share about one of my fun facts. And Sean, you've already heard this one before. I was once Batman. What I mean was my wife has a little children's parties, and one of her performers, he got sick. I don't know what happened. So she had this amazing costume. It looks like the movie type costume made in Mexico, and she needs someone to do it. I mean, it has the muscles and everything, right? So she's like, Carlos, I need you to be Batman. So here I was wearing this latex suit for 3.5 hours in the sun, and I was like loving it. I was like, and Sean can appreciate this story because I know he's a big superhero fan. I was just literally Batman for 3.5 hours of my life. So.
and by the way, I love that story, Carlos. And to me, I think you're like real life Batman. Anybody 5 combat tours? Yeah, I think that qualifies you. Amazing job, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, hey, listen, I think most have a pretty good sense of what we're up to here. I'll just do it quickly. Fernando could be anybody you want him to be, Vivian and Chris. It's one 6-minute conversation that's like cut because he's got to take a quick phone call. So it's not 2 different conversations. It's one 6-minute conversation bifurcated in half. So we don't need to get anywhere in the first 3 minutes except where we're going to the end in 6 minutes, right? And we don't have to restart and like stop and schedule a new appointment. At 3 minutes, I'm going to be like, hey, Fernando, you got a quick phone call? I'll be like, hey, I'll be right back. And we'll pause it there. Then we'll go to the judges. In the first round, we're looking for how did you connect with Fernando, opening his listening to you, and put something at stake for him that's relevant in the second round. And you're like, wait a minute, who should Fernando be? For Vivian and Chris, Fernando should be anybody they want to connect with. Maybe it's an attorney to unblind them to Chris's incredible integrous, accurate brilliance as an economic damage expert, doing literally the right thing in absolute integrity, nothing more, nothing less, with his genius. Maybe it's an attorney, maybe it's a judge, maybe it's somebody in charity, who knows? Right, for Vivian, the same thing. Whatever is relevant to her in the world as a big yes, that's who Fernando can be. It's your choices. I know Chris is local here, Vivian, you're from further away, so I'm gonna have a 1 or a 2 under this table. And what do you think it is, Vivian?
2.
It is a 1. So Chris has won the toss. And as a football guy, Chris, would you like to receive or kick off? Would you like to go first or second?
I will kick.
All right, so you're gonna go second in the first round?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Vivian, you're up first. Who would you like Fernando to be?
I would like Fernando to be a home builder or somebody high up in the home building business, a regional president of a national home building company, Star Homes. Just made that up. Star Homes. And I'm looking to help him out in any way I can with my expertise.
All right, and what would be a normal pain point or something that this regional vice president would be like up to in the world? Like what would they be wanting to create, and what would a pain point be?
Okay, so wanting to create, they're wanting to find property to purchase, and then they want to develop it. A pain point in the development of the property is governmental regulation, especially local governmental regulation, and holding them up, and time is money.
Cool, got it. All right, Fernando, you ready?
Let's do this. So Vivian, you'll be giving me a ring, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Take us in.
All right. So, hello?
Hi, Fernando. This is Vivian Monaco. How are you?
Vivian, hi. How are you? I wasn't expecting your call. How's your Wednesday?
Oh, it's going great, going just fine. I understand that you're the regional vice president for Star Homes, and Chastity Vega at the Home Builders Association recommended that I call you.
Beautiful. Well, I'm glad, that they recommended you to me, and I'm so sorry. I got a few minutes here, and this is a call regarding.
I'm not hearing. Oh, says my internet connection is unstable.
Vivian, can you hear me now?
Here, let me try it without this.
Yeah, let's annoy everyone in your law office and take off the headphones. Is that better? Nope, now we cannot hear you. Let's try one more. How about now? Oh, you just accidentally muted? How about now?
I don't think I muted.
No,
Okay,
we can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Beautiful. So let's jump right back into it.
Yeah,
I'm glad
So
you got.
start the clock. Good. Yep.
You start the clock. Hey, I'm so glad you got the referral. Hey, listen, I got a few minutes. What is the call regarding?
So Chastity was telling me that you had contacted the local Home Builders Association as a member because you were having some issues with getting some of your entitlements approved in Orange County. And she suggested I call you to see if maybe there is something that you need some assistance with, or if I could introduce you to somebody who might be able to help you break the logjam. So what's happening with your business right now?
What's happening with the business, a lot of different dynamics. And I've spoken to so many lawyers. I feel like I've connected with so many, and everyone just kind of says the same thing. And I haven't found just someone that can really make it happen. Everyone promises, I've invested money. They say they're going to do it in X, Y days. It never happens. I'm just not sure if I'm even asking the right questions at this point.
So tell me, what I'm hearing is that you're not getting, they're not responsive. The people that you're talking to are not responsive to your needs. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would go with yes. And even the people that do respond, it is like very vague of an answer. It's just never like to completion. There's always like something, or I got to talk to someone. I just want to work with someone that can get me from A to Z. Hello to yes.
I understand. Yep, that's quite a problem. So I think that I might be able to help you with some of this. I'd like to talk to you again and get more specifics about exactly what your problems are, and see if we can connect.
Vivian, I would love to. Just, if I can be totally honest, I've connected with so many people, and I'm just worried. I'm not saying you're this. I just don't want to connect with one other person to figure out that it's just the wrong person. So I don't know how we can figure that out in a few minutes. I don't know if like continuing to search is the route for me.
Well, I think that I can convince you, and I think you know a client of mine, Elle Anderson.
Oh my God, how do you know Elle?
So Elle is a client of mine. I have helped her with some land use and some real estate transactions, and we've developed a great relationship. And so, and I actually met Elle also through the Home Builders Association. And if you know Elle's a very dynamic woman, and when she needs something done, she needs it done right away.
Dynamic woman, I was going to go with tough cookie, and it sounds like we know the same Elle. Yeah, she is definitely one that demands excellence. That's incredible. And how long you say you've been working with her?
Started working with Elle near the end of last year.
Incredible. Well, Elle definitely has a wonderful reputation. Do you think it's best if maybe I communicate with her directly before kind of following up, or what would you suggest?
I think we should just have another conversation, and if after that conversation, you could follow up with Elle and get her and get her take on what her experience has been with me.
And Vivian, what exactly would we cover on the next conversation?
So some specifics about what type of regulatory problems that you're running into, and then some possible ways of working around them. It would just be an initial conversation. There would be no cost to you for that. And we can just go through your problems, and I'll tell you if I can help you. And if I can't help you, I'll try and find somebody who can.
You got it. Vivian, listen, I'm going to take this call real quick.
You got to take a quick call. He'll be right back.
Yep. I'm going to take this call real quick. I'll give you a call right back. Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Vivian, excellent work. How'd that feel for you, Vivian?
It felt pretty good. I got in my head a little bit, but.
No, you did excellent. And a couple thoughts in a little bit. But let's drop in with Chris. Chris, how are you? And who would you like Fernando to be?
Yes. I would like Fernando to be the second best litigator in the country.
Very good. Love that. Is that Michael Smikin?
Nah, that's good.
I'm teasing.
So it obviously Callaghan's on the top. So it's the second best litigation firm in the country.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Chris Young. Thank you for that beautiful endorsement. I appreciate that. And can I just ask this honest question, Chris, because we have a lot of fun with it. You have unique optics into our influencing skill set. And just like, this is not pre-prepared. What would you say if somebody's like, hey, can like that guy really, influence people at a super high level like he seems to claim? What would your answer be?
Without question. It's interesting when you're in the courtroom, right? So I get the opportunity. Most people don't even know this, and most attorneys don't know this, but I'm in the courtroom more than most attorneys are. I'm probably in the courtroom in a year more than most attorneys are in their entire career. And I get the opportunity to see, some of the best and the brightest, and then you get to see some of the attorneys that perhaps aren't as good. And the Callaghan folks and the process and the way you guys go about running a case, and particularly running a trial and getting the jury to be influenced by your opinions is remarkable. I think in the Wachansky case, which we all know had an army of lawyers on the other side, all of whom were beaten up by Sean Callaghan, Michael Smikin, and the rest of the team, because you guys are so powerful.
Thank you. And when truth is on your side and you have brilliant people like yourself seeking truth, that's what happens. And thank you, brother. So yeah, Fernando, second best litigator in the country, brother. And you're dropping in with Chris Young.
All right, big shoes to fill. Ring the phone and I'll answer. Let's do it, Chris.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Jim, this is Chris Young with Red Maple Economics. How are you?
Good. And Chris from where?
Red Maple Economics. Jim, you and I met last year at the New Jersey Bar Association convention. We briefly discussed economic damages and the services that we provide at Red Maple. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for me to reach out, but you did ask me to give you a call, and here I am. And I'm not going to waste any of your time, Jim. One of the things that's really important to me is I work with some of the best litigators in the country. I know your time is extremely important. And I really have just 3 questions that I wanted to talk with you about today. And if those questions are, if we get some dialogue from those questions and you think that there's some services that I can provide you, we can move forward. But my goal is to not waste any of your time. But if you can, would you indulge me for a few minutes as I ask you a couple questions?
You know what, Chris, I was really looking to say no. I got 3 minutes as I'm walking into a meeting, as long as you can keep it in 3 minutes.
Jim, awesome. Just a quick question. Are you a good litigator?
I would consider myself one of the best.
And how do you know you're one of the best?
It is a track record. It is, my clients will say it for me. And, my record in the courts speaks for itself.
Do you mind just tell me some of the cases you worked on and the jury awards that you've had, or the judge awards that you had in your favor?
Yeah, I worked with blank and blank in Florida. I had the award for the lawyer blank, and I've been really, over the last 10 years, we've had high excellence on the Lawyer magazine, and that's really, just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things we've done.
And do you think you're winning enough cases, or do you think you could win more cases?
In my world, I wish we can bat 100, and we're not. So I would say yes, there's always room to improve.
So you like to win cases, is that fair? Because this is what this question, my entire call for you today is about winning cases. So do you like to win cases?
Chris, I like to win, period.
So then what's the number one challenge that's keeping you from winning every single case and coming up with monster jury awards for your clients?
And that's a great question. A lot deeper than I like to get in a couple minutes. But what I would say is, as much as I take pride in being one of the nation's top litigators. Unfortunately, sometimes some of my teammates, I love them. They're incredible. We've worked together. I've trained them. Sometimes they don't pick up the ball when they need to. So that is something that I'm currently trying to figure out how to work on.
Yeah. Would you be shocked if I told you the number one reason that you don't win enough cases, just like most attorneys and litigators throughout the country, is because you hired the wrong expert?
And what do you mean by that exactly?
You hired the wrong financial expert, you hired the wrong economic damages expert, and because you have done that, your case was lost.
Okay.
Does that resonate with you at all, Jim?
Not something I've considered, but I guess it's plausible, yes.
Yeah, hey, Jim, you got to take a quick call, and I'm your partner, and I want you to continue this call with this man because he's got some magic to share, it sounds like. So you'll be right back.
Got it.
All right. Chris, awesome job, brother.
Thanks.
Great energy. Love it. Let's see what the judges have to say. And I will attest to Chris's brilliance and his fortitude. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We made law together in the largest jury verdict in the last decade in Arizona because there was a difference between fair value and economic damages. And nobody, we talked to expert after expert before getting to Chris, and this is going back, even before the first verdict. And this is like over time, and everybody's like, you got paid already. And they were wrong. And if we had listened to them, our client would have gotten nothing to maybe $1 million. That jury verdict ended up being $27 million because of Chris helping to see what people didn't see. And we put it all together, and it was amazing. True story. We had 5 rounds of oral argument in federal court in Arizona before the amazing Judge Joseph Campbell, who's a person of the highest integrity. 5 rounds of argument to finally have Judge Campbell, who's brilliant and unbelievable, get the theory, and he got it. And it was in, and it was on. And so, unbelievable. Chris.
Sean, he's still to this day the most brilliant judge I've been in front of.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. I completely agree. He is what every judge in America should be. And if all judges were like Judge Campbell, the world would be a very different place. Integrous, unbiased, driven, militaristic in his approach to time and structure. Just an amazing person. So thank you, Chris. Chris, I want to connect soon and just go out and talk about that. I don't think we've had a lengthy 3-hour conversation. Let's talk about nothing but that one night and just reminisce.
We should. Let's do it.
Yep. So, okay, let's drop in. So let's go start with Ashley. Ashley, thankfully, 50-foot wave survivor, amazing coach and thinker extraordinaire. What do you have? Let's start first. Let's go either way. We'll go Vivian or go Vivian, then Chris. I'll have the buzzer go off at about 35 seconds, and then maybe 5 more seconds to wrap up on your feedback with each person.
Okay.
Sound fair?
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. So Vivian, great job. I love that you started off right at the beginning of just referencing the person and bringing in similarities and connections that you both had and how you made the connection. I really also, the referral piece of it. And then as part of the feedback, let's see, I also was thinking what I'm hearing, I really love that that's what you said and repeated back to him, made him feel heard and understood in the conversation. One of the things that I noticed is there was, you use the words might help and think that versus a firmness And I know, I'm confident that this is what I can bring and deliver to you. And I think if you had shared that, it would have given him a lot more confidence to say, let's keep going in the conversation.
Thank you.
I also, was that my 30 seconds?
That was the thing. I mean, go ahead. Do you want one more point and then a score, please, Ashley?
Yeah, the last point I would say, and forgive me if I'm doing this wrong. The last point I would say is,
first of all, thank you for being here. You're doing it so right, and thank you for your presence. And all we're doing here is giving feedback on like how you felt about the connection, what was at stake, and a score. You're doing a beautiful job. Thank you.
Cool. And the score, all right. And the last piece I will just say is he opened an opportunity for you guys to connect even more with Elle, and there was an opportunity, I think, for you to jump on that and utilize it versus pushing your agenda. It might have had to be more of a soft thing. So scoring, score is on a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
1 to 10.
1 to 10. Okay, just want to be sure. I use 1 to 5 for something else. Great. So I would give you an 8 for the call.
No, thank you, Ashley. How about for Chris?
Yeah, so Chris, I'll start with the score. I thought it was a 10. You jumped right in and you came in very confident. You referenced how they met. You owned that you should have, caught up earlier. You asked a time objection right away, direct to the point of the calls. And I thought that the questions that you asked were just brilliant. And they were questions that you knew that he would say yes to, and getting right to the yes right there. So I thought it was a brilliant call.
Awesome. Yeah, if I could drop in with a quick thought, Vivian, amazing. We're going to Shiny next. An access point would have been when Fran was like, well, should I call Elle? I deal with Elle. It could have been, we talk about fun, aspirational goddess and Zeus energy. There's a fun opportunity moment. It could have been something like, hey, Fernando, Elle. Like, is she not like type A crazy success person extraordinaire? Well, if I make her happy, I'm going to make you happy. Like, so can't we just do that? You know what I mean? Like, so it could have been just a frame like that. And brilliant job. But I was like, oh, like, yeah, like, Elle, come on, man. Like, Elle loves me. How could you not love me? Does that make sense, Vivian?
Yes, thank you.
No, awesome. Okay, so Shiny, what do you have?
First of all, very well done, Vivian. You were very warm, very optimistic, and you kept on going. Again, the technology problems that you experienced, which I believe was a distraction. And I also want to mention that in real time, in real life, if you really truly have 3 minutes, it's going to not help you. So you might really want to check if your technology is great, if your voice is heard. That is important. Second, you were a bit hesitant to me. And when I listened to you, it was clear. And Fernando also asked a few questions to make you clarify yourself. I believe you could have been a bit more clearer from the get-go, so that it would have been really helpful. And the energy you brought was just so warm, and that's what it kept going. And still, I believe the clarity, this is what I can do, this is how I'm gonna do it, this is my plan. What do you think about that? Instead of, mumbling and going into some sort of like a coaching, scenario, that would have been helpful. That's what I thought. But other than that, the warmness and the optimism, I can convince you. We have a referral, the same person, Elle, that was great. And I believe clarity is the word I want to highlight. It was not clear.
Okay, and what'd you have for score?
My score is 7.
Okay. All good, Shannon. And for Chris?
For Chris, I am going to say that he was very clear from the get-go, and he was really, really professional, and he went into the questions right after another, and it really kept him going. And Fernando was really interested when you asked, hey, did you know that this was the #1 reason why everybody was not getting it done? So you brought statements and statistics and information. So you used information very influentially, and that was brilliant. And what I also got from your energy, it was a bit cold. Maybe it was professional, but it was a bit cold and a bit distant. And still, when I asked myself, what could have been better? I said, when you said you asked me to call you in 2 minutes in, I believe you could have said that even before, as soon as you have the call. Hey, Jim, remember you asked me to call you? And then you could have been, you know, right there with him. You could have saved him some time, maybe. That's what I thought. But it was brilliant, and I'm going to give you 9. Just, you know, there's always room for improvement.
Excellent, Shane. Thank you. And Carlos.
Thank you. I'm going to start off with Vivian. Vivian, I love the warmth in your voice. I actually looked down to write some notes, and I could feel a smile. And when I looked up, you were definitely smiling on the phone, and that came through. So I love your tone. I felt the emotion, like as far as, you know, you're kind of matching the tone of Fernando. The only thing I had a concern with, and I think everybody else pointed out, is you went a little too much into coaching mode, a little like what you were offering right away, instead of trying to, you know, build a little more rapport. And you came back to it though. You did come back to it and build rapport, and I love. And even though you got a little stumped, I was glad to see, and because of the lack of emotional rapport, Fernando was hesitant. I love how you brought it back with the connection with the person. I thought was great. I was like, how's she going to save this? And you did. You saved it. You brought it back. So for that reason, I'm going to give you an 8.5, because I think you overall did a great job of acknowledging and creating that scarcity and reciprocity with the person who was concerned about certain things. So you did a good job with that. And I just think you need to work more on kind of leaving the reason for the call a little bit towards after you build the rapport, and then talk a little bit more about your heroic identity in there. Transition to your heroic identity, like what you do, like, you know, hey, let me tell you about why you should work with me, and then you go into the reason for the call. So for that reason, I gave it 8.5. Chris, regarding you, I love how you started off respectful of his time right off the bat. Hey, I'm respectful of your time. I like how you said, hey, I am giving you a call. I wouldn't have got into the reason to have, you know, started having call you so long. You never want to begin any kind of negative connotations to it. So just say, hey, you told me to call you. That's it. Don't remind him that it's been a while, you know? So just because that could interrupt the rapport. I love how you were matching and mirroring. I really love how you build emotional rapport with the questions. You did the past, the present, the future. You know, what's working, what's not working, what are challenges. I love that you used the formula in that sense. To me, that was key. And then you went into your heroic identity and as far as getting acknowledgement. Well, not yet, because we had another call, right? But one thing, like Shani said, I feel like you need to be a little more warmth in your voice. Like I could hear it in Vivian's voice. I could hear the warmth even without looking up. It's just a little more warmth in your voice, which sometimes, you know, maybe it's not required, but I think sometimes, you know, I think you definitely have it in yourself. Yeah. So for that reason, I give you a 9.5. A little more warmth, you're down to 10.
Awesome. Great job, Vivian and Chris. And as we step into round 2, Vivian, it is your choice to go first or second in round 2.
I will go first.
Nice. Okay, so drop it right in. It's just a continuation of the phone call, and take us in.
So Vivian, what was that last sentence you shared?
So I think I was talking about Elle, and that she's a client of mine, and you know how demanding she can be. So if I can help her and satisfy her, I can satisfy you. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, if that's okay.
Sure.
I was actually an assistant county attorney for Orange County for 15 years, and also a past chair of the city, county, and local government section. So with that experience, I have connections with local governments throughout the state. So I understand that you were running into some problems, for example, in one of your projects with the Orlando County Utilities. And that's a very common problem. And it is a cause for delay. The way I can help you there is I know who to call and what to say. And if need be, I have the cell phone number of the director of utilities. So I'll call him out of a meeting if I have to. So, and I pride myself on being responsive to my clients. If you need something done tomorrow and it takes me all night, I'll do it. The very first matter I worked for Elle was for a public hearing the following day, and I was at the office till 3 o'clock in the morning preparing for it. So and she hired me like the day before. So I can be responsive. I am responsive. That seems to be your major concern, from what I heard. So what do you think about having another meeting to talk about more about your specific problems, and let me tell you where and how I can help you.
Yeah, you know, Vivian, thank you for that. I should have one more question, and then I truly have to go, and you know, let's see if we end up following up. I do clearly understand the power of, you know, who you know, and that's incredible that you have cell phone numbers. And, you know, I say this just with the utmost respect. I feel like I've heard that before, and it's not even about people communicating back to me. It's just like, what does execution look like? Because everyone's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just in your expertise, and, you know, you're an expert here, and the truth is I'm looking for one. How long do you think this process will take? I know a phone call is just a phone call, but to actually accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish, how long do you think that'll take?
Depends on the problem. If what your problem right now with utilities is you're not getting your plans examined, and you're not getting the responses for your plans, and then that I can take care of pretty quickly. Generally speaking, I would say in about 5 days, we can get you the response that you need for your plans review. If it's something else, if it's some requirement that the county's putting on you that's not in any of their code requirements, then that, I'll be honest, that can take longer.
Well, Vivian, is it all right if we start with a 15-minute call, or what would you suggest?
Why don't we start with a 15-minute call, and you can tell me what, say, your 3 biggest problems that you're having right now in moving your development forward, and then we can go from there.
Okay, and do you want to just, like, how would we schedule this exactly? I don't really have optics on my schedule, so.
Last 10 seconds.
How about if I send you an email, and I'll let you know my availability and see if any of those time frames work for you. If not, we can go from there.
Right. Well, Vivian, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and cool headphones. Like.
Thank you, Fernando. It's very nice talking to you.
Awesome. Vivian, great job. Fernando is being awesomely and intentionally more challenging, which is a great, you know, mechanism to bring things out. And if I could lean in with one thought, Vivian, you know, you're amazing. And when people are being difficult like that, it could be leaning like, hey, Fernando, I hear you. This is a frustrating process. People drive you crazy. So with respect, the question isn't like, can I make all this happen like that? Because you don't have that already. The question is, who is the best person you can work with to get this done with the optimal efficiency that you can count on? That's hard for you to gauge. But all I want to do is spend 15 minutes to contrast how I approach things, my personality, my energy with what you have already, because I will submit to you, right, that nobody is going to outwork me, and nobody is going to be more effective and efficient. I can't promise you any actual outcome, but nobody can. They're saying that, they're lying. But you can assess who you'd like to go to. Like, does that energy make sense, Vivian, or no?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Just like boom, like right, like in that, you know, we live in the same world at times, right? You know, and when clients are sharing, it's like just leaning in, like, I can't promise you an outcome. I can't tell you that we're going to win the case. Like, I can't tell you that. It's unethical. It's inappropriate. But here's what I can tell you. Like, in creating a buying criteria, like, hey, what are you looking for even? Do you even know how to look for an attorney? Right. And that's why we talk about category, caring, urgent, aggressive. So we're like anchoring on buying criteria that people may not be thinking about. So you're framing his buying criteria and leaning into what it is. And my hallucination, you know, my speculation is that whatever he has currently is not going to be you, Vivian. Like, you bring it, you know, clearly. And so, and the more you can bring that forward into like what his thinking is, make him like go into his own reality and perspective on the criteria, it's going to slow him down and begin to like help him recalibrate versus, okay, what's your pitch? What do you got? All right, what do you got? Like, he's not in his own problems in space that way, and putting him there is critical. That's all. So awesome job. Just like micro distinctions. Chris, are you ready, sir?
Chris, you are muted.
Sorry.
And now you are not.
All right, Chris,
All
we
right.
left off with Fernando jumping off right after you told him his biggest problem is hiring the wrong expert. And are you ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
Take us in.
Jim, really good to catch up again. How are you?
I'm doing well. Pondering some of the questions you asked. Very, very interesting, things that you kind of put on the table. But I don't kind of remember where we left off.
Yeah. So what we were talking about is that many litigators, they don't realize, and rightly so, because you got so many things going on in your cases. But we don't spend enough time thinking about our experts, and we hire the wrong expert for a whole host of reasons, which we just won't have time to talk about today. But it's important that you hire the right expert. Can I ask you just one more question, then I'll tell you a little bit about my firm. How do you hire, and how do you go about hiring experts for your cases?
Chris, I don't think I've ever hired anyone that hasn't been recommended or referred to me, except the very rare occasions when it's just like we need someone right away. But outside of kind of fact checking through people I trust, sometimes I've chosen people with amazing reviews that were absolutely terrible, and sometimes I've chosen terrible people that ended up being amazing. So I'm not really sure exactly how I would choose an effective expert.
Yeah, that's real. Well, thank you for that. That's very important information for me personally. But when you're thinking about a $30 million case or a $50 million case, or maybe even greater, do you think that it's important that you find the expert that is going to do the best job for you?
Yeah, it's only the right thing to do for our client.
Well, look, I won't spare you any more time here, but I'm just going to tell you a couple things about my firm. Over the past 5 years, we have put together reports seeking 4.5 billion, would it be, damages for the small business in the United States. We have helped settle multiple cases greater than $100 million. We had 2 cases go to verdict in the United States. Each were greater than $25 million in jury damages, both of which are in the top 100 jury verdicts. We have a 99.98% success rate in ensuring that the judge or the jury adopts our opinion. That's, again, 99.98% of the 500 plus cases that we've worked on over the past 5 years. We are extremely successful, Jim, because we do a couple things right. Number one, we put in more time and we put in more sweat than any other firm out there. We're a boutique, which means we don't have hundreds of people running around worrying about just trying to fill seats in order to make revenue. We care about servicing the litigator because we believe your job is extremely important to the success and the well-being of the marketplace. Third and last, we're a research-oriented firm, which means we publish a lot of material in peer-reviewed journals that directly impact our opinions. There's nothing better than when I get a cross-examination from an adversary and they ask me, how can I support my opinion? And I tell them, here's the 5 or 10 articles that we've published in peer-reviewed journals with relation to that question. We're successful because we really care. And the only reason I call you on the phone is obviously I want to get to know you and I want to learn a little bit more about your practice. And I obviously want to tell you about ours. But all I ask you to do, if it's okay with you, Jim, is the next time you have a case, and maybe you have a case on your desk right now, is that you just give us a shot to look at it. And we'll give you a fair and honest opinion of what we think. One of the things that we're known for is we help litigators, when it comes to the law of damages, understand claims and counts that perhaps are not being considered, and claims and counts when we can come up with damages that are substantially greater than what you first anticipated. Is it fair for me to ask you to give us a shot next time around?
Chris, that's a pretty heck of a story. I think it's more than fair on one condition, if I may ask you a final question.
Yes, sir.
You can send me an email on what happened when at 0.02%. I would be curious. So, Chris, I'd love to check that out, and thank you for the call.
Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. All right, great job. And Sean, if we can please have Ashley be our first assessor. I want to be respectful. I believe she has a 4 o'clock stop.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for your time. Yeah, please jump in with feedback. And I thank you in advance for being here if you have to jump off, and hope your experience is a positive one today.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Thank you so much for having me, Sean, and thanks for being cognizant of that, Fernando. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so real quick here, Vivian, you continue to bring the smile, the warmth. I love that. And the biggest thing that I want to share is right at the end, you got to the piece. Sean gave such great feedback, and right at the end, you got to the piece where you said, I just want to ask you 3 questions in this 15-minute call. And I felt like you could have used the call to ask the questions instead of validating how you can help him, right? I felt my experience was you were trying to validate why they should work with you instead of understanding what his problem was and then showing him that you had the information, the resources, the knowledge. That was my biggest piece there, but your energy continued to come through, and that I very much appreciated. So yeah, that call I would give an 8. And then for Chris, love that you took the feedback and opened up and became a little bit warmer as well. You asked him how he was doing. You shifted your energy and acknowledging who he was. A couple times you asked permission to ask him a question, but didn't give him the opportunity to answer. And I know it's a time frame, that kind of thing, but just that little moment would have given him the back and forth. We're having a conversation, we're building that relationship because he wanted to work with you. But that little, I think, piece of building could have just been a little bit stronger there with that. But I love that you came in with valid points, with lots of data, with lots of, numbers that are going to be enticing to him for him to start thinking and putting himself in that box. So I thought that content was really wonderful from that perspective. So again, I would give you a 9.5 for that.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you. Have a beautiful day. Really appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Much appreciated, everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. Carlos, what do you have, sir?
Well, Ashley stole all our thunders, I believe, right, Shiny? The way you described that. First of all, you guys both did a really good job, and you guys, I think, took the previous coach and ran with it. Vivian, starting with you, you continue the warmth, and just like Ashley said, I believe you started getting to benefit throwing, kind of what we call it, like you start throwing the benefits of what you do instead of kind of, like you said, those 3 questions you could have asked. If you had asked him throughout the conversation, then you could have aligned with what he wanted. So I'll give you an 8 because you were able to get a meeting with him, a 15-minute meeting. But I think if you had like she said, if you have gotten more, those like mic drops for you to kind of distinctions to kind of go in there and say, oh, tell me about this, tell me about that, and just kind of dig deeper to what his issues were. And give me an example of some of the issues you're having. Instead of telling him like, oh, well, here's an example of some of the issues that I've dealt with, more about issues that he's having, and then going into that. Like Sean said, like you want to find out more about him. The way Sean described the conversation, I can't promise you anything, but here's what we can work on. And that was just beautiful the way he said it. And I mean, I still give you an 8. Like I said, your voice and the way you talk to people and the warmth comes across. So for that, now it's going over to Chris. Chris, 10. You like amazingly the difference between the first conversation and the second, as far as warmth, was amazing. I mean, I was like, is this the same guy talking? I felt your concern, and I really love how you dropped into the questions and you asked for further distinctions, and then you kind of developed your heroic identity based on those concerns that he had, and you molded your heroic identity to what he was asking, and I really love that conversation. I was like, dude, like I want to hire you. I'm not even a lawyer. So. I was going to give you a 9.99 because you couldn't get that 0.001% of cases, but I'm going to give you a 10. So great job, Chris. I really love the way you took the coaching and just switched the conversation and you brought the warmth.
Thanks.
Awesome. Great job, Carlos. And Shiny, what do you have?
First of all, I'm starting with Vivian. Vivian, it was amazing. And like Carlos and Ashley mentioned, I was going to give you the same feedback. You did all the talking, almost all the talking. And right at the end, you asked him the question, which could have been asked at the beginning, and you could have spent your whole time listening to his objections and his problems, and then you could have spent your time to solve them, to address them, because he's already suspicious. He's already challenging you. He's already telling you, well, I keep hearing this, and I understand you have cell phone numbers and all that. He's not looking into that. There is something that he is not convinced about. And at that point, it would have been much more useful to understand why he is suspicious. why he is not convinced. What is the problem here that I need to tackle it? And that's really the highlight again. And I'm going to give you 7.2. Okay. There is an improvement, obviously. And I feel your heart and your warmth so much in your voice. And what I would think it would help you is to gather your numbers and your facts and statistics just like Chris does. Next time you talk to someone, like in real life, like prepare a case, like a literally court case, have your numbers ready, your statistics ready, and you could have said, hey, our timing is 3 times faster than any other company in the market, something like that, so that you have a way to get to his head. That might be useful.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Chris, I at the beginning, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't still feel the warmth. After you started talking about the facts and the numbers and how great you are and everything, you started warming up. And I felt that. And I'm like, yes, he's warming up. Yes, that's happening. And then I am looking at your body language and I'm thinking, maybe it's helpful for him to smile when he talks, because you're not smiling. And because you're not smiling, it's very hard to get your warmth from your voice when you are on the phone with someone. And maybe, I was thinking Sean always touches his heart, right? When he talks, he always touches his heart. And I said, well, you guys are so the opposite with Vivian. He's from the heart and you're from the head. So maybe if you touch your heart, that might give you the warmth that you need and a little bit of a smile to get the energy, because your facts and your numbers and your information is killer. Like you are a true persuader. Just the heart effect might be really useful for you. That's what I thought. But I'm also going to give you 9 points.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shiny. So as we wrap up for today, thank you, everybody. Shiny, how was today for you?
It was a great experience. I loved learning from both of them, from you and from the judges. It was incredible. I am very thankful that I'm here. Thanks for the
Well, and you're awesome, Shiny. It's been fun to share the stage with you. It's been fun to bring your UCLA professorness here and all the training and brilliant.
grading. Sorry for that.
No, that's it. Thank you. And thank you for your courage. And I mean, I thank Chris and Vivian for their vulnerability and their openness. It takes courage to judge and share what's truly on your heart and mind. So that's a beautiful job. Thank you.
It does. Well, thank you for having me here. And thanks for listening to me, dear Vivian and Chris. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, great feedback.
Awesome. And Carlos, how about yourself, brother? How was today for you?
This is a great experience for me. I've been on the other end, Vivian and Chris, everybody you guys have been in. And I get that being nerve-wracking, being in your head. So I totally understand. And you guys did better than I could have done with the tough cookie that Fernando is. I usually get a little nicer avatars. So you guys did better than I could have ever done. And thank you for being vulnerable, and thank you for letting us give you feedback. And just by coaching, also we learn. Because I was learning from you guys, just from watching you guys do it and taking the coaching, I learned myself. So thank you so much, Sean. Fernando, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Carlos. And I do want to acknowledge.
Thank you, Carlos.
I want to acknowledge Fernando as well for having the courage to lean in as a role player today. Great job, brother. And Vivian, so how was today for you?
It was good. It was a little nerve-wracking. I was quite nervous actually before this, but I learned a lot, and I really appreciate it. And man, Chris, you're a rock star.
No, but thank you.
Well, Vivian, thank you, and beautiful job. And Chris, how was today for you, my friend?
It was good. You guys have asked me to be on for, as a judge, and this is obviously a little bit more serious from this side. So it was wonderful. It's good experience.
Yeah, and Chris, I want to acknowledge you, you and Vivian, and I've done this a bunch, and that was a model, insane job of delivering your heroic, unique identity. Unbelievable. It was also as good as any job I've seen on the Real Raw of somebody putting at stake, like connecting somebody to what's at stake. At step 2, when you talked about winning and losing case of that magnitude, and you're certain that you put them on it lovingly and truthfully, that was a masterful job, brother. So great job.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Vivian, thank you. Chris, Carlos, Shiny, Fernando, another day of the Real Raw. Influence is a superpower. The micro distinctions are present. It's where we take it. It's how we solve huge problems in the world. Integrity-based, heart-centered influence. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.